warm welcome to Let's Play Rule the Waves 3 as Germany, starting in 1935. It's July 1948, this is episode 64. Apologies for many of you who've dropped comments in the previous video. I haven't got around to it. I was really busy this weekend producing a video on how to use a artificial intelligence tool, Notebook LM by Google, to just interrogate your war games rules and charts and tables and game-specific rules and all of that, so that you can bring all the power of AI to just understanding your rules. I think it's a really interesting development. I recommend you have a look at it. Anyhow, back to where we are now, and I'm feeling pretty good. We've got 8,000 in our monthly balance. Hooray! Our funds are increasing. Excellent. Our submarines are being built, so that will increase our funds even better. We've got a new dock size under construction, so that if we want to match America's mega battleship or battlecruiser, then we can do so. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased. Oh, one of you pointed out that this is going to mess things up, so I'm just going to rename this, say, Alder for Eagle, because these are mainly birds of prey in the names. And then, what else? Oh, yes, some of you, many of you pointed out that in Doctrines I'd managed to delete damage control and then get it started again. So thank you for being my eyes and ears to correct my own stupidity. Let's stop damage control. And let's press the button for the next month and see what we get. So 4 more submarines. Soviet Union and Japan have signed an agreement. Well, that's odd because Japan are friends with us, but the Soviet Union aren't. So whether that's going to do anything for our alliance with Japan, who knows? Arms ships to South American countries. So let's have a look at the almanac, because this can affect spying. So it looks like everybody is very advanced, aside from the Soviet Union, China and Spain. Well, obviously I'm not concerned with China or Spain. The Soviet Union is a concern, because if I agree to arms shipments, it's going to probably allow the Soviets to spy on me more. So I'm going to say no to that one, despite enjoying money usually. Scientists scratching their heads about something. Oh, a new dive bomber. So let's see what the gods of new planes have brought us. So here's our existing one, the Focke-Wulf. So the key features are that the speed has only increased a little bit by 40 knots for the maximum speed, 20 knots for the cruise speed, and the range at medium has increased by 90 or something, just under 100. So this Blumenvoss, although weak on firepower, is incremental improvement. I mean, there was a time when your dive bombers effectively were secondary fighters because their performance was not far behind that of your piston engine fighters, but that's obviously a long time ago. I think the biggest development here is that dive bombers can now have medium and heavy, can have torpedoes at medium and heavy range. So that kind of suggests that I can scrap the torpedo bombers, because this is now effectively a multi-role attack aircraft. So that seems to be like a nice thing. So let's go for the Blumenvoss. I'm going to say no to float planes, because A, I don't think there's much development that can be done for float planes, and B, I want to choose what the next aeroplane I develop is, and ditto for naval patrol. I'm not against a new naval patrol. Any news? Nothing earth-shattering, other than this Japan-Soviet Union alliance, which is concerning. Okay, let's go to the next month. And 4 submarines, and a finished reconstruction. A rebellion in the Middle Congo continues. a lot of fiddling around with ships and commissionings and stuff, but nothing really of any great consequence other than our re-equipping of light jet fighters with the most modern one is carrying on. And we have our Z100s, so let's go and build some of them. Let's go for 6 as a reasonable number. Click OK, and a chance to build our new Emdens as well. So let's see how many we can get away with. We've got 5,500. So we can do a couple at the moment. So let's do that. Tempted to do a third, actually. Let's just check on how long they will be. So 5 months for all of these reconstructions. 10 months for these new small escort destroyers. 16 and 23. Okay. So 5 months, I think, to release some more funds, although obviously the submarines will release some as well. Push forward. 3 more submarines. An improved model of the medium bomber. Well, thanks. I mean, it's a relatively new medium bomber. The improvements are touch to firepower and to the bomb load. Well, I mean, fine, okay. China wants to buy our old naval patrol. Well, why not? So presumably that will give us a bit of money. Nothing too interesting in the intelligence. Let's go to aircraft types and have a think about what it is that we want to develop next. Well, we're keeping pretty up to date. So we've got 1948 models for the medium bomber, the dive bomber, the jet fighter, the piston-engined fighter, this older jet fighter, which, you know, is not actually that bad. The torpedo bomber that I might want to swap out. Actually, it's a useful comparison. So the torpedo bomber can also do medium and heavy ranges. So, but flies at 281 against 330 for the dive bomber. So yeah, I'm going to convert my medium bomber squadrons to be dive bomber squadrons. This dive bomber is now obsolete, so we can let that one go. The float plane, probably never going to improve its performance, so that makes it the naval patrol aircraft is going to be our next one. The performance improvements I would expect is a huge jump in the range, 744. You can see our medium bomber can do 1,500 at this point, so I expect a big jump in that from this 1942 model. Firepower, obviously maneuverability is rubbish. Toughness, 17. I would expect it to be able to carry torpedoes and go from heavy anti-ship missiles to mediums. Yeah. So what can I put down? Let's do a process of elimination. Speed, unimportant. Maneuverability, totally unimportant. Range, I think that's going to jump up anyhow. Bomb load, I don't really see a problem with that. I expect it to be able to handle missiles and torpedoes and a reasonable number of bombs, but it's not really what it's for, nor is firepower. So I think I want this to be as tough as old boots and completely reliable. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do for my maritime patrol aircraft. Okay, so that will be 9 months for that one. Okay, nice to see that the planes are as up to date as I can manage it for the moment. You know, and I'm just thinking about these cruisers. I do have 1,500. If I go to build ship and do the cruiser again, that's only 2,300. So, you know, less than 1,000 more. I've got 40,000 in the funds, and my funds are likely to increase. So, yeah, let's put another one on the stocks and carry on with that. I think like a bit of negative financing. 4 more submarines. You see, that's going to help. Well done for the elite 3,679 group. Others, Japanese government is offering to sell us the rights to machine lightweight. Well, yeah, let's have some more tech. Go, another 1% weight saving. Every little percent helps. So let's just check the news. Slight delay in one of our destroyer constructions. I mean, it's relatively trivial. And yeah, that all seems perfectly normal. Bit of tensioning going on. Okay. See, monthly balance minus 32 already. Excellent. Not many techs coming through at the moment. Let's do one more. Finished construction of our coastal, I've forgotten about those, in Iceland and in Norway. So that's got them protected, or more protected, against invasion. Again, alluded. I'm going to say no to all of the empty air bases because they're deliberate. France has crushed its rebellion in the Congo. Okay, so this is interesting. Soviet Union rumored to halted construction of a heavy cruiser because of financial difficulties. Liking this one. Problems with equipment delaying one of our destroyers, and unexpected delays affected our new Emden. Not enjoying those at all. What? Come on, German industry, get your finger out. Otherwise, just a whole pile of stuff. A lot more is reduced. Okay, but generally increases. Is reduced. Okay, so intelligence tensions going up and down a little bit. And there we are in positive balance, to the point I nearly can order another light cruiser, given that there's slightly delays here on these two, but not on the Kolberg. Tempting. And that would give us a nice little division. So I'm going to go to build ship and do the Emden. And there we are. Certainly minus 800, so that's fine. And that is December 48, so let's just go and celebrate the new year. There we are. Hello. Angled flight deck. Now, that does seem like an important one, and one where suddenly modernizing my carriers seems like a thing to do. I will have a little think about that. Nothing particularly interesting in the news, just a little bit of promotions and medium bombers being replaced by more modern. So, yep, that's all good. I've just checked on the technologies, and after angled flight deck comes steam catapults, notionally in 52. So that might be a reason for holding off the refit of the carriers until I have both of those two technologies. I haven't done a review of the year as I usually like to do, so let's have a look at that next. So here's our end of year 1947 report. Bear in mind I didn't do one for 46 because I was busy fighting a war, so this really covers sort of 2 years. We have new designs for destroyers, light cruisers, and this new escort destroyer. We have modern planes, a 47 or a 48 design for almost everything, and we have maritime patrol being worked on. So really only the seaplane is, the float planes aren't being dealt with. We're building 4 light cruisers, 6 fleet destroyers, and 6 escort destroyers. We've refitted 2 heavy cruisers and 13 destroyers, or are in the process of, and by refit I mean adding anti-ship missiles, really. We've scrapped 3 older light cruisers, a pile of older submarines, and of course the trawlers got scrapped at the end of the war. We had sunk a carrier, 2 heavy cruisers, 3 light cruisers, 15 destroyers, 7 corvettes, 21 submarines, and 48 coastal submarines. So, you know, after 2 years of war, some wear and tear, particularly on the destroyer force. We had something like 11 named battles, and we sank against the British and the French 11 battleships and battle cruisers to our none, 6 carriers to our none, to our 1, 5 light carriers, we didn't have any, 13 heavy cruisers to our 2, 18 light cruisers to our 3, and 54 destroyers to our 15. So, I'm pretty pleased with that. Obviously, we're at peace. I would expect the peace to last for at least 3 years, depending on how aggressive the Soviet Union is, and possibly for 5. And we've planned out our future fleet construction until 1955-ish. If we look at the tensions in 45 against the tensions at the end of 47, you can see that everybody is pretty agreeable. The only flicker of a tension is between Germany and the Soviet Union. There are allies in place. Germany is allied with Italy and Japan. Japan's playing a bit of a footloose game here because it's allied with Germany and it's allied with Italy, which is great, but it's also allied with the Soviet Union. Okie dokie. Britain and France still remain to be allies. And our unrest is at 0. Do you remember those bad old days when it was back up to 6 and threatening to go all the way? So, yeah, that's all doing well. There's one other thing I want to show you. By one, I mean 2. So the first is these are the named battles in our war against Britain and France, and these are the named battle against our war with the Soviet Union. And there are twice as many for a similar, in fact, slightly shorter amount of time. We actually had a longer war against the Soviet Union, where we only had 5 battles. Not our fault. The Soviets understandably didn't want to come out and face the German Navy, whereas here you can see it was all pretty intense. The other thing I want to show is the economy, because some people questioned whether I should have taken the reparations as occupying colonies. I think, occupied Iceland. And here's what happened to the economy at the end of the war. Do you see that lift? Well, that's a pretty sizable increase in national economy. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. So in our base millions, and that's why it's always good to try and take as much as is offered at your peace in terms of reparations rather than acquiring colonies, particularly if those colonies means that you are burdened with extra colonial naval responsibilities. Taking colonies early on in the game, on the other hand, is super useful. But we're in 48, and decolonization, if it hasn't already started, is about to start. So yeah, just wanted to highlight that one. We don't often go into the history. Quite useful. So let's press on for a few months and see what we get. So into the new year. So lots of finishing of the reconstruction. So I just need to make sure they go into reserve as necessary. Bit of news, some minor scrappage going on. Nothing really of much import. Let's put a few of them into reserve. I only have one of my Z61s properly modernized to carry anti-ship missiles, so I'm just going to rebuild these. Oh, so no, because I need to have a separate design for this 1942 rebuild, so I'm going to rebuild those instead. There we go. Okay, I set 4 of those old Z61s to be refitted. I'll do these 1942 versions later, because we've just dipped down into negative funding there. Otherwise, I think it's all good. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. We forgot to look at this stuff. So notable in that in 1945 we were up to 520 for our annual budget, so we're fully nearly 70,000 down on that at the moment. And our funds are correspondingly 70,000 less because of wartime usage and stuff, but our construction has gone up from a very modest 7,000 to 20,000, just short. And our techs have increased by 21, so over 2 years, that's about 10 a year, which is funny because sort of subjectively, I assumed that the wartime hadn't been very good for tech developments, but 10 a year is actually not bad at all. Right, onwards and upwards. So into March, so some more ships finished working up. So again, we will need to do that. Naval attaché, this is a blah, blah, blah. Okay, there's no negative consequences to this in terms of prestige because you're promoting someone upwards. So I'll just pick someone. Don't know who I'm going to pick. Let's have a look at our incompetence. Hello. So tempting as it is to do the incompetent, I'm actually going to do the Prince Eugen because he's below average and a rate of fire enthusiast, so he'll be, loosing off stuff all over the place, whereas the incompetent doesn't have a post at the moment. So cross fingers, that's all fine and doesn't cause any disruption. New dive bomber, rumoured to carry a heavy bomb load, never mind. Nothing much to report in the so-called intelligence, some rebuilding and stuff like that. Okay. Soviets having problems with their own research. Okay, that's fine for March and into April. Dockyards reduced by 500. I mean, it's annoying, but I just couldn't afford to build as much as they wanted me to build. So obviously, if that carries on too much, nice little 3-inch AA effectiveness increased. Trouble with steam catapults. So once I get steam catapults, then with angled flight decks, there's definitely going to be some carrier rebuilds. And they are working on quite a lot of stuff. Fastest than our fastest fighter. All right, the Blackburn Botha. There's a heck of a name for you. Usual churn of ships, some promotions and stuff like that. The ship, the Shenhui, has a top speed of 28 knots and an armor belt of 5 inches. I think so. I mean, if it did, it would be, let's go to the almanac. Let's look at China. Let's look at their ships. And there's 63,500 ton. Here it says speed of 18 knots, which of course is nonsense. Oh, but they were talking about this, which is a 20,000 ton ship. So yeah, 11 7-inch, 17-inch guns. Righty-ho, and let's go to May for more finished reconstruction. Stellus, yes. We do need the best technology. Thank you very much. Also with the dive bombers now, we've got a brand new dive bomber, but, they're up to basically big bombs and they can carry torpedoes and they can carry anti-ship missiles, so I'm not really feeling that that's a very meaningful thing to have to worry about. Okay. That's weird. It's almost as if I had to make them into a 1946 rebuild before I could make them into a 1948 rebuild. So let's do that. And then let's go to these ones and just rebuild them to a similar standard 6 4-inch guns, 4 torpedoes, 4 anti-ship missiles. So here is the rebuild for the early Z61s. Accommodation set to spacious as ever. just the 4 torpedoes, 4 anti-ship missiles. We don't have the topside space to give them reloads, which is a shame. But then we are only on 2,200, but it's not really the weight. We still have 47 tons remaining. It's this topside load. And if we have a look here, the main armament uses a bit. The secondary armament uses 6. The medium anti-air is 20. That takes up a heck of a lot. As well as the director for the guns, and then another 20 for the anti-ship missiles, with the rest, bits and bobs, really. I mean, the radar is 6. If we had a less capable radar, that would be like 4 or something, but why would you do that? So yeah, 4 anti-ship missiles, 4 torpedoes. I could add some mines. 10 mines. And yeah, that's about it. We can max on the 3-inch guns. It's not the most advanced director. Ouch. So that does take us over. So we'll probably have to go by and lose the mines. Yep, there we go. Take us to that 73. But other than that, I think I'm pretty happy. That's all okay. Let's get them all rebuilt and useful again. So that's another 6 anti-ship missile warships on the build. Pushes us into the minus quite a bit, but has to be done. And it's only for about 8 months or something. Low tensions. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much, Reichstag. It's currently at 455. So it had been 451, so let's just see what damage it does. The docks are completed, which is nice. More research. Oh, search radar 5. Okay. And 19-inch guns, quality 1. Just what I didn't particularly need. Thank you very much for that. Let's say no to all of the air bases. And our new dive bomber is ready for service. Actually, I did say I was going to swap the torpedo bombers for the dive bombers. So let's do that. Other than the red, I mean, there are some delays in the ship rebuilding, which is annoying. Captains being rearranged. So first of all, I just want to look at the guns. So what do we have? -1, -1, a 0 for 18, a -1 for 17, and then zeros with only a 1 for 12 and 11 and 3. I mean, I would love a quality 1 for 6-inch guns, even 5-inch guns, as well as any of the big guns. That would be fantastic. So not much fun there. Okay, so there is one reason for keeping the dive bombers, which is one reason for keeping the torpedo bombers, because torpedo bombers are night capable in a way that dive bombers clearly aren't. Let's bring that in there. Night capable dive bomber, no. So yeah, that is a thing. Okay, and we'll just take it to the half year. 4 more destroyers arrive. Just need to check on the destroyers. I probably need to redo all my divisions, but I'm not too bothered with that now. Oh, okay. My new maritime patrol aircraft. So, as you can see, the speed has leapt forward not. Okay. The range. The lift in range is, I'm going to say, a bit disappointing. I mean, given that the medium bombers can fly out to 1,500 or so, yeah, if it wasn't for the ASW capability here, I would be, yeah, quite annoyed by that. That's, I mean, particularly given this is, 7 years on from the original. Okay, I'm going to go for the Henschel. Speed manages to be slightly slower, but that's really of no consequence. It's the range, lifted up some 300 miles, is the big one at light range. The firepower's all the same. The maneuverability is your brick, basically, but it is very tough. The weapons loadout is exactly the same, so we will go with that one. And then just check if there's any news of note. Not really. Okay, so that's halfway through 49. We do need to get on and build some more stuff. If we just bring in the old fleet plan, you can see we are in this light cruiser building year, but ideally we should be building a couple of more, but we've got a lot of refits. So once those refits are out the way, then we can build light cruisers 5 and 6. We're on track for the Escorts and for the fleet destroyers. That's all fine. And we're modernizing some of the better fleet destroyers. So yeah, I did feel I was falling behind, but actually 49 and 50 are all about the light cruisers and destroyers. That's fine. So that's that. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time when we complete 1949 and go into a whole new decade. Bye for now.